Boom!
Hey
Happy
guys.
Tuesday. Happy live stream. It's that time again. We'll give everyone a chance to jump in, and let me get set up on the good old Instagram over here, and we will get started. All right, and there we go. And we're live on Instagram as well, so if you want to jump in there, I will shout you out when you jump in, and if you have questions, you can drop them anywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitch. All right, here. Let me just get started, and we'll go through a little bit of news off the top too. And all right. Hello and welcome to the Bellwether Ritual live stream, where we discuss music, the local Lehigh Valley PA scene and beyond, especially today, bands, social media, and more. Today is Tuesday, October 29th. My name is Mike, and I'm the guitarist and vocalist of Bellwether Ritual. I hope you had a good week and a good weekend. And I just want to say we had a great week and a great weekend. We had 2 shows that were awesome. I just want to shout out a couple people. Brian Wagner for shooting some awesome shots of us. Thank you for coming out. The bands Hex Engine, Almost Honest, and Harkin, and then Portal Hex on Sunday in New Hope. All awesome things. It was a hell of a weekend, and it was a rough Monday morning and Tuesday, but we appreciate everyone for working with us and coming out and making that special. So thank you very much. All right. Just a little reminder too, now that shows are wrapped up, we have a new website, so bellwetherritual.com will get you all the information on what's going on with the band. And just a reminder to please like and subscribe if you like what we do here, and please go out and support local musicians. I want to make a special shout out, and I'm trying to remember the date. I think it's the 2nd of November. Richard Genziak is they're putting a fundraising event together to raise some medical funds for him. He's not doing so well right now, so that is, I believe, next either the 2nd or the 9th. I will find out and post it in the below description box. But if you are in the Lehigh Valley area, especially Bethlehem, go to Sokol's and please donate if you can, or there's plenty of GoFundMe spots online where you can do that. He's been a staple of the music scene for a very long time, and I think our support would go a long way. So thank you for all that. And with all that out of the way, tonight our guest is Reverend Fuzzcut. The Reverend is a contributing writer to cleanandsoberstoner.com and monsterriff.com, and I think he's got a little news. It's not breaking tonight, but there's also something else that he's up to, and he's out of Indiana. He's also a multi-instrumentalist, and he's currently recording demos for a fully DIY solo project. Reverend, welcome to the stream. How are you, man?
Hey, doing great. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for coming on here. I forgot to tell you, the first question I ask, is there anything you want to plug right off the top, or just let everyone know where they can get a hold of you and find and follow you?
Yeah, the social stuff is all just at Reverend Fuzzcut. I really only have Threads, Instagram, and Facebook is what I mostly use. But just plug just the Clean and Sober Stoner, Monster Riff, and last weekend became a contributor to Doom Charts as well. So
congrats, man.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's been really cool. Just got my first rankings put in. I was
like, is this your first? First
so I just got them turned in last night, and I'm like, I had to leave off so much that I still loved. I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? It's breaking my heart. Can I have like 50 spots I can pick?
Yeah. What are the preparation? What is that called when they do the second?
It's like weighted.
Yeah. No, I mean
the perforation.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, however, I always get that word wrong.
Me too.
I don't think it's perforation. That's yeah. But yeah, that's like it's the second week of the month, I think, where they kind of have the blurbs from everybody else about the albums, and that's looking fun. Those are like mini reviews that I like leaving on Bandcamp.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. So you just want to talk a little bit, maybe since you brought that up, and that's kind of a new thing, how that came about and how you got involved in it?
Yeah, so I initially, the way I got started in the whole scene, it was Scott found me from a blurb I wrote for Black Pyramid, first one I'd ever done on Bandcamp. I just sat there and I wrote it down, and a couple days later, Scott got a hold of me, and Scott was a huge part of my getting sober story. If I found him, latched onto it. So the fact that he was getting a hold of me, I was like, oh my gosh. He was like, hey, if you can do this in a short review, can you do this long form? And eventually it led to the King Bastard review, and been there since then. Well, just I guess over time, just turn them in, it's just led to one thing, led to another. And he was like, "Hey, would you like me to submit your name for the Doom Chart? See if you'd like to do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And here we are 3 weeks later. That was a goal too. A
Cool.
couple years ago, it was like, part of the 10-year goal, be a part of Doom Charts, get your name as a writer in the scene. And whew, it happened. Once things start rolling, my goodness.
I love that. And when you started, you're exactly right. When you start really putting the work in and achieving the goals, it feels like it kind of builds momentum and just more and more happens faster and
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it snowballs, and it's like, and it's really cool. It happens so fast that when it's easy to lose track of what you've done or what you put together. So when I was going back the other day looking for an old review for some to see how I worded something, make sure I didn't write it the same in something I did earlier.
Mhm.
And I couldn't believe how many I had written already. I was like, I thought I did like 6 or 7. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all these. I can't even find what I'm looking for now.
Yeah, we were talking about this too with the band the other night. When you are on the right path, the right people and the right things come into your life, At least I
Yeah,
feel that way. Yeah.
absolutely. And that's what I really think Scott's there. He's that's the best thing is I get to write for somebody I greatly respect. He is an
Mhm.
awesome human being.
Yes.
And that makes it just so, it's already worth it because I'm writing about the music, but to
Yep.
write for him, I love it, man.
Very cool. Yeah, we had him on, and I only really got a chance to talk to him for about an hour, and we had some emails. But yeah, it was great too. He's actually in the chat, so I just want to shout out
Oh,
Angel, Scott, and Black Sasquatch just joined the chat. So thank you all for jumping in on the Instagram side of things, and I hope you like what you're hearing. I'm sure Scott does. Let's see here. Let's start from the beginning. Obviously, you're not from the Lehigh Valley. Are you from Indiana, like the part of Indiana you live now originally?
yeah. I was born, I mean, like little country towns outside of Indianapolis.
Mhm.
I've been all over the country, different at different times. Sorry, my dog's in here getting into stuff.
That's part of the live
Um, but yeah,
experience.
I've lived at different. I've lived in Louisville. There's a great scene going on in Louisville right now with
Oh,
Crop
really?
and Banshee. Yeah, Crop and Banshee are killing it down there.
Cool.
But yeah, Louisville. I've lived in LA for a little bit. I've lived in I lived in Eastern Kentucky, just the hills for a good long time. Love that, but there was
Mhm.
nothing going on there
Yeah,
on a Saturday night.
yeah. And you're touching on this a little bit before the stream started, but you just want to talk about your experience coming from, actually it's kind of like it is kind of like the LA kind of story, right? You come from I mean even Indiana, right?
Yeah.
I'll go all the way out to LA. And what was that like for you? Um I don't
Oh,
know.
it was it was overwhelming. I like I said, I'm from small little country towns. I got there, and I mean, I'm a fish out of water. It was a really frightening experience, and I was just
Yeah,
constantly overwhelmed. So I didn't know where I
yeah,
was. Couldn't tell east, north, west, south, just because I couldn't make landmarks. Everything's so
yeah.
tall and everything.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was an overwhelming experience. I'm definitely more of a out in the country type guy. I just
Yes,
like to have my internet too.
same. That's the perfect balance, I feel like. You
Right.
can contact everyone if you want, but probably just hang out in the woods by yourself.
Right.
At least
And
I would.
Indiana was terrible about it. I lived in, like I said, 45 minutes from the nearest gas station when I was in Kentucky. I
Wow.
still had fiber optic there. It took until 2022, I think, until I could find a place to live here in Indy that had it. I know there was other spots that had it, but yeah, Indiana has a pretty bad internet situation, or did for a long time at least.
So did that inform, like, the music that was like, did you look for other channels to, like, get them to find that music? Or where do you go for, or where have you gone? I know where you pretty much are now.
Uh, well, so here in the last, I'd say 2 years, I've been collecting physicals again.
Okay, cool.
When I got sober 2 years ago, I got rid of my whole vinyl collection except for like a Jisoo album and a couple others that are like Melvins and stuff that was real rare.
Yeah.
Dillinger Escape Plan, that kind of stuff. But I got rid of all that. I was like, I want to restart the physical thing because I had streamed on Apple Music for years and years. I think since it started coming out, so probably since 2015 up until a couple years ago, I used Apple Music, but I just wanted to do physical again.
Yep.
Because I like having, I like owning what I'm buying.
What a novel idea.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, that's not always practical. You know, if I'm in my car, there's not a whole lot in a modern car. It's not always easy to listen to a CD or a tape or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's
So I
crazy how
do
fast.
still have the streaming services.
Yeah. It's crazy how fast that changed.
Oh,
I just wish.
really? I mean, just overnight with the invention of a smartphone and an app, it just overnight. I mean,
Yep.
just changed the music industry like that. And I
Technology.
still prefer, my physicals. I got a pretty good vinyl collection. A really good. I really like my tape collection. I'm really into cassette tapes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
wanna
I
talk
don't. I
about
don't.
that a
Yeah, I
little
like
bit.
the warble and the wow, the
Uh-huh.
flutter, all that
Yep.
stuff. Like it's very nostalgic to me.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I'll still stream. I still have Apple Music and Tidal to stream, like when I'm in the car or even at home. Sometimes if I'm like moving around the house cleaning, I got my earbuds in or headphones or
Yeah,
whatever.
heck yeah. I just want to shout out a couple people on the Instagram side of things. Clean and Sober Stoner says Black Sasquatch, and then Black Sasquatch says Squatchy. So thank you both for jumping in there. We appreciate it. Chelsea Lynn Meyer, thank you for joining. Triple Gram Music, thank you for joining. We appreciate you jumping on there. Haven't seen you guys in a while, so thank you. And Black Sasquatch says I still have 8 tracks. So not quite
Oh
sure.
my gosh, yeah. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
My dog's being a punk. Yeah, my dad, I know somewhere in his barn has got a Led Zeppelin 2 8-track that I have
Oh,
got to
cool.
find sometime.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's still good after sitting in a barn for 10 years, but man, I remember he had some cool ones. He had that,
Oh,
AC/DC, all sorts of other ones.
I'm thinking like 8 tracks, like 8 audio tracks. I didn't even put it together at first. Sorry, Black Sasquatch. Yeah, so let's talk about, you brought up an interesting thing with cassettes coming back, and you also play multiple instruments. Do you also like the warble for like delays and stuff? Because that's what I really like.
Yes.
I like a good
I'm
clean.
not real good with timing effects. I'm more
Uh,
when it comes to effects, I'm much more picky about my dirt. So
yeah.
fuzz, overdrives, those kind of things. I have
All
all
right.
that in the analog pedals on a floorboard with my bass pedals on the top row, just all that kind of stuff. And but I have a Helix that I run the amp
Oh yeah.
sims, the cab sims, and then other effects like modulation and
Yep.
delays and timing effects. Those I'm not as picky on. I've but yeah, I really like saturated delays. There's one
Yeah.
by Fuzz Imp
Okay.
that that's called like Echo Moon or something, but it's a saturated delay and it is cool, man. I really
Yeah.
want to try that one out.
Very cool. I was super into digital delay just because I loved how clean it was, and I didn't really get the tape delay side of things. And then I got a pedal. I think it was a Loop Station. It was called. It was like blue and huge and has a bunch of buttons on it, but it had like a really degraded kind of delay on it. And I was like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
amazing because it kind of sits back behind everything, but gives you a lot of like texture too. So I always love that kind of
It's
stuff.
hard for me to use sometimes, I will admit, with because I tune down to B on all my
B,
I got a
okay.
5-string bass and then all five of my guitars are tuned in B standard.
So you keep
Um
the fiver in standard?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I get a 7-string at some point, I'll drop the 5-string down to F sharp to match the 7-string because I'll drop that too. But
Yes.
it's gonna be a while. I got
Yeah.
like I don't have any room to put the stuff right now.
That's
but
the
but yeah,
conundrum.
it's hard to use a warmer delay sometimes when you're mixing things that are
It's the
that
only
yeah
issue.
that are
Yeah.
that low tune. That's always the
Mixing?
toughest part. Yeah, well, it
Yep.
just when you're that pushing that many low frequencies, just
Yep.
having everything stand out, it can be really difficult. Why I've kind of pumped the brakes on the recording stuff for now and focusing more on the writing thing is just because it's like, oh, there's so much to take in. If I had a 36-hour, days and 8
Oh, that
days a week, that would be perfect.
I
But
would love that, yeah.
yeah,
And then, fuzz really kinda takes up a lot of sonic space too,
hmm
so when you throw those in there, it becomes kinda like, "All right, well, where can we make these still sound huge, but, like, leave room for other things too?"
I've learned. Yeah, for me, it's been bass chords. I
Okay.
really, really enjoy slapping in a bass chord every now and then because it just
Yeah.
propels everything. It's
Yeah. I started off on bass. I still am like at heart like a bass player, but switched to guitar. I actually played both at the same time, but in bands played bass and then switched over once I started writing more songs. But um, is there why? So wait, there's a couple things there. You said you tuned to B.
Mhm.
Where did that come from? And yeah, just how'd you get there?
So I believe it was Aaron Turner of ISIS.
Yes.
and Pelican as
Yep.
well. I always love the sound of their open low notes.
Yep.
There was something to that. I like A standard as well, but it's
Oh
so
yeah.
hard to get A standard dialed in right on a
Yeah.
Gibson scale instrument. I mean, when
That's what I was
the
gonna ask you next, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so hard. I can do it fine with B standard. It still takes a little bit of wiggling in the right places, but it's I'll tell you right now, I had to have that Wolfgang set up by somebody else. There's no way I can work with a Floyd.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't.
it was all that. It was all that Pelican, Mastodon. You know, they had that weird
Oh.
Neurosis tuning. That would be like
Oh, we use
A,
that.
and
We just started using that,
it's
and
great, isn't it?
I love
I
it.
think
Oh
Kai
my god.
Lessa and somebody, Neurosis, of course,
Yep.
uses it. Black Label Society did for on 1919 Eternal of all things.
Very cool. Yeah, I've just been so for the longest time I was like, I want to be everything E standard. I should be able to play everything E standard. And then slowly but surely it's like, oh no, this is cooler. This
Yeah,
sounds heavier. Like, and it just keeps going and going. I'm like, oh
yeah,
man.
it's so good, but there's only so low you can go because I mean, I don't know. My little heart key can't keep up. Like I tried detuning this bass as far as I could, and I was like,
Yeah.
below A, it's like,
Yep.
we ain't really meant for this.
Am I even hearing anything right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling it more than I'm hearing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting that you said that too. Cause yeah, I just didn't want I only wanted to play one guitar and blah, blah, blah. And now it's just like, let me try to set these up in different tunings and just swap them out. And it's been really great for writing too. You want to talk a little bit about maybe yours? I don't know. I'm not sure which way to go. Since we're on writing, let's just go into songwriting a little bit now. What is your process? How do you start? You're kind of you one man DIY right now.
Yeah. Well, so I'd like to do it all from by myself. It's right now. It's very sludgy.
Hmm.
The kind of stuff I'm throwing together. Real sludgy with very mechanical drums. It's kind of it's because it's programmed drums, you know.
Yep.
So I'm like, I don't want this to sound like I'm trying to make it sound like a human drummer. You know, I want to use this as the effect that it is. You know,
Oh, cool.
because I don't want to try to just trick people about it. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly it all usually starts off with the guitar, and it starts with the pickup choice for me.
All
Am I
right.
going to play a Strat? Am I going to play something with P90s, or am I going to play something with a humbucker? Because I've noticed for myself, I will play wildly different with each guitar. Like the Strat, I'm always doing some like space rock kind of, you
Mhm.
know, more delays, less fuzz driven, a
Mhm.
little lighter, that kind of stuff. The Rev Star I have with P90s, that's a straight
Oh,
up like drone metal machine. I
nice.
love that guitar for that. And then
So
the other two are just kind of, you know, standard what I would normally do, like rock and roll type stuff.
are they all shorter scales, like 24 and 3/4?
Yeah. The only one that are Fender scales, the 25 and a half, is the Stratocaster and the Wolfgang.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't know what my Yamaha bass is. I'm not as familiar with bass. I just started playing those about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I don't
And
remember.
found that's actually my favorite instrument to play now.
The bass?
Mm-hmm.
Have
It
you
is.
tried a bass 6?
I want to so bad.
I
They
think
are so cool.
yeah, I think people are kinda like I wouldn't say ditching guitar, but when that kind of came back into the, um I don't remember, I think maybe it was on a Deftones album or something, because the Deftones guitarist kept going lower and lower and lower and lower, and the bass player
Yeah.
was like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" So he went, like, the opposite way with the bass 6. Um,
Yeah, it's such a cool instrument, and I mean, I really like how the pickups on it sound. I mean,
yeah,
it's such a distinct voice.
yeah,
I'm a big fan, and even the Squires. You know, the Squires are cool.
and
I dig it a
oh,
lot.
I think most of them are Squires in it. I don't know if
Yeah,
there is a Fender bass.
Fender has the Mexican one now,
Oh,
or
okay.
or last year they produced it. Something like that. I don't know
Oh,
if they
okay,
still
cool.
do, but it was a nice instrument, man. It's just expensive. Lord, that thing was like $1,200.
That's a studio, find too, like,
Right.
well, I don't know, I've seen people play 'em live too, but, um, yeah, that's a great thing to just keep, for recording at any point.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's see, what else did I have for you on the recording side? So, like, talk a little bit about your process. Do you start with a drum track and just kinda try to jam on something? Are you recording riffs all day on every kind of
I typically write without even record. I typically like it's such a backwards process. I typically set up my cell phone and just catch myself jamming. You
Yep,
know, like and I'll go through it, look at it a couple times. Like, is there anything worth taking? Then I'll try to take whatever riffs I've had that I like,
Mhm.
and I'll try to put them together. If I need to change key on one riff to make it fit, that kind of thing, and then I'll do that. But that's usually how the songwriting process goes, and then I'll worry about throwing that into, Ableton, and then worry about, you know, the drums after that. It's usually always guitar first or bass. I never start with drum. I can't even imagine how I would, because I'm not a drummer.
Yep.
I'm aware of where the parts on the kit are. So when I'm doing, programming it, I want it to at least be realistic if it had to be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like that kind of mechanical. Um, who does it real well is Chat Pile's drummer. Now he's a real
Oh,
drummer, but it doesn't sound like it. Like he's such a very mechanical, almost robotic, but it's incredible.
interesting. They've been getting a lot of, like, hype lately, I feel like.
Yeah, they
Started
have. I
last year,
mean,
right? Yeah.
they just had an album come out this month, Cool
Oh, okay.
World, and yeah, I got into them a couple years ago, but yeah, this year or this last couple months, they've had all sorts of hype surrounding them,
Yeah.
and they even hit the Billboard charts, I believe, at like number 81.
Wow.
Right,
That's impressive.
right.
Very cool. Just want to shout out a couple people in the Instagram chat. Chelsea Lynn Meyer, thank you for joining. And the man we were talking about before, Brian Wagner, thank you for jumping on there. I already sung your praises of the wonderful photography you did for us at the gem. And we appreciate you just coming out and hanging out with us too, because that was a hell of a fun time. So looking forward to next time. All right. Let's see here. Oh, the Rev Star. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I was looking at that for a long time, and I feel like there's a new guitar player on the scene who is like a shredder, and he plays a Rev Star. But
That Mateo,
yes, yeah, yeah,
yes,
you know him? Yeah, yeah.
that cat does using he plays it like a bass. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Do you
And
think
he's got
do you think the Rev because the Rev Star, I always liked the way it looked. I actually play a guitar that kind of looks a lot like it. I just never saw one in person or played one, but everyone says they really like them.
it's probably my Reverend are my favorite guitar I own. I like the Reverend because it's a semi hollow body
Your
and there's
namesake? Yeah.
specific things. Yeah, that too. But no, I think for bang for the buck, the Indonesian Rev Star, the middle
Yep,
one
yep.
is the best bang for the buck you can get. It's 850 new, and I mean it's a
Oh, wow.
perfectly good touring guitar, perfectly
Yeah,
good studio guitar,
yeah.
and it's comfortable. I like a beefier neck, and so this isn't beefy, but it fits my hand real good. I have real bad hand issues nowadays,
Okay.
um, and I don't have hand issues whatsoever using that. And getting to the upper frets, not
Yeah.
a problem whatsoever. The
No, there's
way it's
plenty of
cut
room.
is awesome.
Is it
It's my
24 frets or 22?
22. Yeah, it's just like a Les Paul. I mean, it's
Cool.
it's all the mahogany body, maple top guitar. It's what you expect from a Les Paul, just better.
Yeah, yeah, I
Better and
know,
cheaper.
right? It's embarrassing, but yeah, you're right.
No, I love Les Pauls. I got
Not
one
for
for
me, no,
my
I'm not yeah, I'm not a
I
I
got an
don't
Epiphone. I had to get one. It's the classic guitar, and it's a silver
sure.
burst, and I love it.
Yeah, very cool. Let's see here. How about we go switch over, like, back to writing a little bit and Clean and Sober Stoner, Monster Riff,
Yeah.
and Doom Charts. And yeah, I know you touched a little bit of like how you got started. How about like plans or goals for either your writing or your music? Like, what do you got?
Right now, I'm mostly leaning into the writing thing. I had to last. It was right before I had pneumonia a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry to hear
Yeah.
that.
Oh no, it's okay. I get chest infections a lot, so it's just something that knocks me out a couple times a year.
Yeah.
But I had this. I sat there and narrowed down my goals and what I wanted to do because I had bitten off. Not that had bitten it off already, but I was about to bite off a bunch of chunks. I was going to
Yep.
start a book and this and that. So I decided right now I'm going to put the music stuff. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on that,
Mhm.
and I'm going to focus more into the writing thing because that's already set. There's a lot of goals still there I want to hit. As far as honing my craft.
Yeah.
There's still some stuff I believe I'm raw at, and I would really like to get better at. Also, there's a short fiction. Short story anthology of fantasy fiction, like some grimdark stuff I have planned, kind of like leading up, like different stories of people in this fantasy world. This is leading up to the catastrophe, and then the first set of novels will be the catastrophe itself.
Cool. How about we
Yeah.
let's keep going on that way. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll just quickly do that then. Faith Baker has a comment here. She says, "Hi, Jake. It's Gray, your fave. Keep it up. Also your number one fan.
That's my nephew. He
Oh,
got my
cool.
wife's phone and was watching this. You rock, Grayson.
You
Love you,
fooled
buddy.
me.
I just read it and I was like, oh, it's great. Oh, that's awesome.
All
Love you,
right. Well,
buddy.
what's his name? What's his name? I'm sorry.
Grayson.
Oh, Grayson. Thank you for commenting there. We appreciate that.
He's
All
trying
right.
to get me to buy him a second album when I take him to the record store this Friday.
Yeah, he knows how to do it. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Oh shoot, now I lost my place. Where was I? We're talking about getting back to the writing and what do you like? How about talk through clean and sober stoner versus monster riff versus doom charts and let people know where, like, if they like certain things, where they can go to find those things. I think those are all relatively in the same ballpark, but
Yeah.
doing some
Yeah.
cool
So Clean
stuff
and
on
Sober
monster riff.
Stoner is more of a there's more gonna be more long form reviews there and more centered strictly around stoner doom.
Cool.
Monster Riff, also owned by Scott, is going to be more like lists, and we're going to include more metal and starting to include more different kinds of metal in there. Like
Yep.
last month, I believe on my top 5 or 10, I believe there was a black metal. Yeah, Flight of Sleipnir was a black metal band on there. That's not something that's really Monster Riff had dipped into before, but also Monster Riff. I believe offers like PR services and things like that. And then the Doom Charts is every month, I believe 30 to 70 rankers get together, cast their votes. It's not really votes. It's like a chart, like a ranking system, and it's weighted. So like, number 1 is worth so many points. Number 25 is worth so many points. And then that's due at the end of the month as well. And it's been an absolute joy to do all this stuff. I love to write. I actually went to school for creative writing for a few
Oh,
years.
cool. Comes full circle then.
Yeah, right. And the fact that I get to do that about my favorite art style, which is stoner doom music, is it is so fun for me. I mean, I'm living the dream doing this stuff. I couldn't be happier.
So that brings up a really good question. What is it about stoner doom that really clicks with you?
It's always been the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
For me as a kid. I was born in 86, but so I got into music real early because of my cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So I still remember the first time I heard Pearl Jam. I was just, what is this?
Which record?
10.
Yeah.
It was right when they started blowing up in 92. My cousin Ryan had it on at his house, and it was, holy cow. I mean, just a life-changing event. It's like, whatever this is, I have to find more of this. So, by the time 95 rolls around, I've got, I got 3 of the Melvins tapes, and I got, I got all this stuff by this point. And it's just a continuation, constantly trying to find something heavier. And back then I liked rap a lot because that was heavy. Public Enemy was a heavy band.
Oh, yeah.
Ice Cube's solo stuff was heavy music.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, so it's always been something that makes me feel better. If I get really anxious, I turn it up really loud. It kind of goes in. I feel it in my chest, and it just calms me down. Mm-hmm. And I caught on to that real young, and it's just something I've always done to kind of feel better.
Yeah, there is a definite catharsis to it, and I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards it. I did have another question. We're just at about a half hour, so I think if you're cool, we'll go maybe another 5 or 10 minutes.
Sure.
But
yeah.
Oh, I just read. Oh, metal subgenre, metal specifically subgenres. There's so many.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I feel like it's very territorial with this stuff. Like
it can be, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, I like black metal a lot, but at the same time, I don't like black metal fans very much, if you know what I mean. A lot of toothbrush mustaches in that crowd. I don't like the politics in that scene. It's just like it. But I love the music when it doesn't sound cold and brittle on the guitar. Like Immortal, Sons of the Northern Darkness, perfect black metal album. I mean, and I don't always like the extreme stuff a ton. I love sludge, but there's stuff like death metal. It's not that I think it's bad. It's that it's not meant for me.
It just doesn't do the same thing.
I don't hear what other people are hearing and are taking from it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's bad or anything like that,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It was weird. We were trying to, like, I was talking to a booker, like, to book a show, and he's like, "Oh man, it's so difficult." we can't like the guys in the black metal band don't want to do a show with a death metal band. I'm like, what are you? They're not. I don't
Right,
think.
it's kissing
Yeah.
cousins. It's
Oh
very
my
good.
God. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even closer. But yeah, it's just
yeah,
like, what's
hey,
the
that
problem
one
here?
just step tunes is a couple steps lower. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they're both doing blast beats, they're both hitting the
Yeah.
snare kick, snare kick, snare kick, only, 4 times fast than what I can actually say it.
Yeah, and I think it's part of the thought process too of like, it's weirdly competitive instead of
Yeah.
collaborative, you
And
know?
that's what I love about the stoner doom scene
Oh
with
my
2
God, it was
Tones.
amazing.
It's there's so much love,
Yeah.
Everybody's got each other's back. It's, "Hey, how can I help you? How can I help you?" You know? And also how cool we are to women in this scene. Like, women have a chance in this scene, and I
It
really appreciate that. And they
uh,
have, it was one of the scenes that were kind of first had the doors open for that. And I've as somebody with a stepdaughter, with a wife, with a grandma, with a
yeah.
mom,
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. No doubt, and, that's been really proven true to me. I just wanna shout out everyone that I've had, um, conversations with from Doom Charts because you all have been freaking amazing. Scott Spires, obviously. We have, Bobby Rayfield, S. Patrick Brooks. Who else am I missing? You, obviously. Um, but man, it's just been for us and like for me specifically, because I was talking to you earlier, I'm not necessarily the doomiest of band members. They're kind of catching me up to speed with it. I stopped music at some point for about 6 years, and I just didn't play or really pay attention to anything. And I think that's really when that genre really popped off. So I'm playing a lot of catch up. But man, has this been really a beautifully eye-opening experience of like running into you all and being able to meet you all and like exactly what you're saying. It's not like what can you do for us? It's like, hey, we're here to help you or just like do this thing together, I think is the main
Yeah.
thing,
It's
which
like,
is
"Hey, come and join the party. What,
yeah, exactly.
add your cool skills to our cool skills, and let's see what kind of cool art we can make." Like, I love it. It's just it's it's the most, how do I frame this? It is the single most cooperative scene I've ever been a part of. In any art form. I've tried different things here and there, but I really love how everybody has each other's back in this.
Yeah.
And there's really never any negativity. I can't really name a time when in the last couple of years when one band's beefed with another and all that. Like,
Yeah.
nobody that's really happened that
Yeah.
I hear publicly.
I mean, you're gonna have people that don't get along,
Oh,
but I
for
think
sure.
it's more like and I not that I necessarily wanna get in elections stuff at all, but it's like, hey, we might think different things or be on different things, but at the end of the day, I don't care. Like, I'm more concerned about what we're doing together here, not
Right.
those bigger things.
Right.
So,
There's not like this bigger thing that's lurking in the corner. It's
yeah.
just when we're busy doing this, this is what our heads are in. And that's what
Yeah.
I love about it.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
So, what was the maybe just talk a little bit about the first time, like, first cycle through the Doom charts, like,
So
what
it was I was fretting because I didn't want to, like, you get 25 spots. I didn't want to leave some of these bands off, but I
Oh,
had to
yeah,
leave people off that
yeah,
I love their albums. I like
yeah,
even some I've bought, and I'm
yep,
like, I can't put it on here because I had to put these 25 ahead. And it's like, you can really do some mental gymnastics after a while. And I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at it. I cut them all out, and I printed them off, cut them all out into 25 slits. And I did, okay, here's one. And I put either above it or below it, the next one above it or below it. And eventually that's how I made my list. It was,
cool,
when I looked back through it, I was like, yeah, I feel like this is correct. So that's
yeah,
how I'm going to do it next month. But it was, I feel bad, like I love it. But at the same time, I was like, damn, I really wish I had like 50 or 100 spots I could do every month, because I feel like so many of these, so many bands need recognition, because there's so much talent out there right now.
yeah. It is, yeah, almost intimidating sometimes, you know? I'm sure you
Oh, I
hear a lot of
bet.
great stuff
Yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah. But it's great. It's incredible how much quality music can be found. I mean, it's a rock and roll golden age.
That's a good problem to have. I think so
Yeah.
too, like, it's really coming back. It's definitely underground,
Yeah, it's
but
definitely underground, but never in history have we been able to find so much hyper specific music for hyper specific tastes.
with people like we're talking right now, like, we
Yeah.
could just reach out to each other and be like, "You wanna live stream?" "Yeah, of course,
Right.
let's talk
Yeah.
about music for 40 minutes, no problem."
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. And a big part of that's obviously the internet, which, comes with some bad things. But
Sure.
overall, in my opinion, I know I've only been using the internet for a year now. Late October last year is when I started using the internet.
Wow.
So I've seen mostly the good side because I've gotten so many cool things from using it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know there's some bad stuff with it. And obviously, streaming's not great as far as making a living as a musician. And there's had to be other ways to do that since then. But, got to change with the times, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, the whole industry changed pretty much overnight. And yeah, I mean, that early 2000s just kind of like Wild West.
Yeah. And it's killed. I mean, labels that got killed, labels that got bought up. I mean,
and at the same time,
God bless Bandcamp for coming around when they did big cartel, bands, big cartel sites and stuff. Like, God bless them. And the indie record label still keeping things alive.
It's weird. Like the venues folded, but I feel like maybe not the number of bands exploded, but the ease of which those bands can get in front of you exploded. And then it's like, just becomes like, how do I even find where the good stuff is anymore? So
and I think that can be a hard thing, and that's what I spent when I started getting physicals again. That was very difficult for me to navigate. Like, where do I find the stuff? And that's what Doom Charts came in for. That's what Clean and Sober Stoner came in for back when I first started seeing him. And also Bandcamp. Bandcamp has a great search section where you can type in a label, whether that be heavy psych or stoner doom or whatever, and then what kind of release you want. If I wanted a cassette, do I want a latest one? Surprise me, what's selling? It's such a useful website.
It is, and I slept on it for a while, honestly, because it was like, oh, Spotify this, blah, 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 blah. Make sure you're on YouTube. But really, where the community is, the music community, I feel like from going through the process of releasing, like and I'm guarantee a lot of it is from the Doom Charts and people like you. So thank you. But like, that's where the people are. That's where they're like, we didn't do anything. We have probably just as many followers as we do on Facebook. And like, they're specifically to listen to heavy music. And then we reach out to them all the time. And I don't know, it was a surprise to me. And
yeah, it's great. And I find that's where a lot of the diehards hang around.
Yes.
I really think they're missing out on not having a social feature on that, though.
Oh yeah.
I really think that, but does anybody want another freaking social app in their life? The answer is a big fat no on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't kind of like, there hasn't been like a next kind of big thing app wise, I guess, but
yeah, not that I can not since the last ones I remember that kind of just took over real big were like the short character ones, like the Twitters and the Threads, and the Blue Skies that are kind of what are there. But I can't really think anything myself that at least jumps off the top of my head. That wouldn't be hyper specific to something I use, like Goodreads or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, that just takes us about 40 minutes. One thing I wanted to ask you, is there any bands, well, maybe not this cycle of the Doom Charts, but any bands that you want to just shout out and make sure like you feel strongly about that you want people to listen to?
Yeah. I got my phone right here because I got a list. Cool. But I will say in November, Chained to the Bottom of the Sea just came out today, and that's a heavy record. Sergeant Thunderhoof, Calm has a new one coming out, and Wizard Tattoo. All four of those are going to kill in November.
Awesome. How about do you find these bands are like touring around, or are they networking with each other well? How does that how do you feel like the scene is in that regard?
It's harder for me here in Indy. Unfortunately, it's just not a big hot spot. It's more of a punk and hardcore town. Okay. So I don't get to see a lot of, and plus, with a 12-year-old stepdaughter and a lot of family stuff we do, I just can't get down to Indianapolis a lot to see live shows.
Yep.
So I'm not super as familiar with the live scene here as I wish I was, but once the kids go off to college and that kind of stuff, I will absolutely be making my Friday nights at the Black Circle down there.
Very cool. All right. Just one more comment here from Lisa.
Oh, that's my mother.
All right. Thanks, Mom. We appreciate it.
Mom. Love
you. We do appreciate it. So thank you very much for commenting there. And why don't you just let everyone know where they one more. Scott gives the horns up on Instagram. So thank you, Scott. And you just want to give everyone one more where they can find you, all the different sites you work on.
So I write for cleanandsoberstoner.com and monsterriff.com. I contribute to the Doom Chart rankings, and My socials are all Reverend Fuzzcut. I'm on Facebook and Instagram are the two I'm most active on, and then I kind of touch on Threads every so often.
Awesome. Well, there he is, Reverend Fuzzcut. Thank you so much for coming on. And I don't remember who's next week, but hang in there. I think we're going to take a little bit of a break coming up. So we appreciate you guys obviously following us and commenting. And Scott says, hi, Mom. And YouTube. Oh, don't forget YouTube. Yeah, plug that too. Where can they find you on YouTube?
I'm on Clean and Sober Stoners YouTube. I have a monthly segment called Rev's Heavy Rock Radar.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say I liked all this different kind of formats you're releasing. I think most of it's Clean and Sober Stoner, but it's like I think there were like I forget, I don't know all your names on that team yet, but there were two people talking about some new album releases maybe.
Yeah. Well, the album releases was me and Scott. And
Yeah,
Scott
definitely.
is the Clean and Sober Stoner. And then Gypsy and Blake did one recently talking about Val's latest
Yes,
release.
that was it. Yes.
Oh, that was a good video. I'm telling you right now, dude, like Blake is one of the smartest people I've ever talked. Like, it's almost intimidating. Like, texting with that dude. I'm like, oh my God, he's gets really smart person.
Yeah. Good thing I have the internet.
Right.
Search with all these terms.
Yeah, vocabulary.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, yeah, that about wraps it up. So, Reverend, thank you so much for coming on. And anytime you want to come back and do this again, if you have something that you want to promote or you just want to catch up and chat, let me know and we can get you right back on here. And yeah, thank you so much. And we'll definitely be in touch moving forward in the future. And yeah.
Thank you. It was a blast.
Awesome. Well, yeah, like I said, everyone, thank you for commenting and jumping on. And we